that sequence, you'll end up with a lot of extra cuts like this, which will lead to messiness and a lot of debris. In order to prevent a mess, breakage, and chipping, it is essential that you refrain from working along thin edges in the initial steps. You'll need to carefully establish a second line for yourself right along the existing markings. And practice exclusively in this way. It is only when you truly master this specific order can you transition into performing this kind of work so that it comes out looking polished and professional. If you don't follow this specific order, you'll end up with a significant number of errors, chips, and ultimately resulting in defective work. That's why you need to approach the task this way. The star shape comes out much cleaner this way. The reason for this is that attempting to perform the task correctly right from the start, while working along those extremely thin edges, is actually a very difficult and challenging process to master. Pay close attention to the order of the steps you take. Make 2 clean cuts right here, and then you're done. 1 undercut. Let's go ahead and change the entire sequence of events. Just a simple cut. There are 2 distinct undercut sections that have been created right here. Like this, and like this. This specific order is entirely acceptable. But let's consider a scenario where you are working with straight cuts. In that case, this specific order usually works perfectly fine. However, when you transition to making more complex curved cuts, you might start to run into some significant technical problems. Because of this, it is much better to adapt your approach. Instead of simply doing 2 standard cuts followed by 1 undercut, you should first carefully make your initial cut, then proceed to make another precise cut, and only after those are finished should you perform the final action. 2 undercuts on. I'll explain in detail the steps for making these kinds of grooves so that they come out clean. If you have truly made the decision to start doing this, please pay very close attention. Whenever you make these kinds of grooves, there are consistently weak and strong sides, as well as the specific angle of the knife you're working with. First, there is a weak side. First one. Let's call this the second one. There are stronger sides. This is the side of this one. Why? Because if the first cut to make the groove is done from this side, it's likely that this part here, what will we do with it? We'll break it off. It's the same on this side, but here there's a more secured part. Because of this specific reason, we should always make the first cut starting from the stronger side of the material and move toward the weaker side. Also, please pay close attention. Your hand should definitely not be raised up high like this. Furthermore, the knife itself shouldn't be held in this particular way. You need to tilt the knife. Set the heel of the blade in. And make a light, not too deep, angled cut. There you go. Go ahead and pull it all the way out. If we try to attempt to handle the situation from this particular side over here now, there's a high chance that we'll just end up breaking it right here. That's why the action should be performed from the stronger side toward the weaker side. Again, make sure not to hold the knife like this, but tilt it instead. Up like? Exactly like that. In this specific case, we do not actually perform the cut from the weaker side, but from the stronger side we certainly do. Carefully. Gently go in, tilt your wrist, and very carefully. Make the undercut. That way, you'll get a clean cut and a neat joint inside. Once you've finished making the notches, you'll then need to add a sort of bird shape. It's probably best to repair the very tip of it. For this step with your flag, there's no need to drag the blade here. Simply gently poke it in and tilt it slightly. You can also vary the inner decorative notch, not just with a simple bird-like shape, but by taking a small radius carving chisel, a short, semicircular one. And make it a mark like this. The radius is definitely used for detailing and for filling in the ornament. Your hand should be as relaxed as possible and make the undercut. Good morning to everyone. If the notch is slightly more substantial, then here in these corners, you can position the same kind of birds. You need to try different options. The commonly accepted concept of geometric carving is that when the notches are made, a sort of diamond shape appears on top. Standard geometric carving implies that you should make here just a cut, but as a recommendation. It's better to lift the cutting flag. Make. The cut. Next, you'll need to pick out a small chisel with a beveled edge, specifically an angled one for this task, and perform some basic actions. Namely, set it, tilt it a bit, then pull it right through. Once. The second action needs to be pulled a little further. I pull it further. From this side. Lift the cutting flag at an angle. Separate it with light movements. Accordingly, let's clean it up. And you start to get the element. Show both the very top and the bottom of the tip. Set it in place. And connect. Flip it over. The cut flag it and handle. When your element ends up looking absolutely stunning and unique, the most widely accepted idea is one line, the second line, and then the third, and the fourth. If we make the first cut inward, then, accordingly, this cut can't go exactly here. It also needs to be made inward. It's the same story for the next two, both facing inward. In this case, the hand does not pull through. Again, set it in place and make the angle. In this case, what you see in front of you is the standard approach to geometric carving. That's basically where it stops. But as a strong personal recommendation, it's absolutely and completely better to adjust the specific angle. That. The angle. The angle. And on the cut line, we do it by angling. Undercut. Subtitles made. Then this element looks interesting, but later on, it still needs more detailing. Grows. This tool is a half-round short chisel, ideal for detailed carving and woodworking tasks that require a curved blade profile for precision. And a jab into the cut line. Created this direction, let's keep watching closely. Set it on the body. Lift it and up. He carefully picked up a small angled chisel that featured a sharp beveled edge. And we proceed to carry out the necessary action, starting with the very first act of the sequence. We show the direction inside. Turned over. Proceeding very carefully and slowly. We cut worse. Schneck off. Some were eliminated. We knit it. Is mandatory order. We need to get to the center. Produce. Here are the cuts. That is, we need modify. Existing geometric figure. This order is absolutely necessary. The transformation of geometric figures must definitely be applied. Then your composition, as a whole and in combination, will be perceived differently. If we also incorporate an additional 2 cuts, we will be performing this specific action completely on purpose. So you can very clearly observe exactly what the major difference is. It will be exceptionally clear and immediately apparent that the element has started to be perceived differently. The simplest way for you to make a clean cut is to just use a sharp angled chisel held at the right position, and you can easily do it in a perfectly straight line. Or, if you prefer, you can add a slight, graceful curve to the shape. If you do it in a straight line, ultimately, it will look exactly like this. That is why, in the very initial step of the process, for example, a sharp angled chisel is often used to make the entire task much easier for you. Now, you can carefully take a slanted carving flag and place it directly into the existing groove. Just make a tilt. This way it's much easier to perform the action in the first steps, rather than doing it here right from the start. This way is much easier. We've established the direction. What do we need to do now? We need to make a cut right here. A very confident one. That's it. A cut. We've picked up an angled chisel for ourselves. 90 degrees. A shorty, it's short. Either with a solid edge or a straight one. And here we've made a turn. You can keep developing it further. Right here, we'll bend it slightly. And here we'll bend it a little too. Just like that. Then we'll get a really attractive and nice looking element. But if we continue adding to this element in exactly the same manner as we did here, to show the direction, next we'll carefully lift the short corner chisel and make our cut. A light tap. We'll also lift the carving flag chisel at an angle. So, our composition will be enhanced. With the current arrangement, once you've already formed the shape, let's go ahead and add 2 more actions. We'll completely break apart the integrity of the shape that we already have here. Then automatically, it changes for you. Let's sum it up. A set of 4 chisels from the Adolf Yuriev line, which includes a piercing flag chisel, a slanted carving flag chisel, a short corner chisel, a stubby chisel, and a stubby radius gouge. But in order to successfully produce a wide variety of different ornamentation, in any case, you need these 4 absolutely indispensable tools. Gradually, step by step, as a rule, you add all the subsequent chisels and include all the following ones as well. Having these tools gives you a vast array of possibilities for completely transforming and enriching the details, for creating a wide variety of unique ornamentation. In this specific case, we have carefully looked at a small, detailed section of our overall layout and demonstrated some simple yet effective techniques. As you already understand quite well by now, if we decide to use a significantly large number of specialized chisels, they will actually work to enrich and enhance the intricate ornament itself.